Now with me, I'm on edge.
Why are you on edge?
Because it's April 18th and there's some issues with our taxes.
Oh.
We have a large estimated tax payment that we have to make. I'm literally going to make like a $40,000 payment. Yeah. Damn! Painful.
Yeah.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Docs Outside the Box. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Dr. Nee, host of Docs Outside the Box, and I'm joined by my co-host, Dr. Renée. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, Alfred, can you put a little auto-tunes on that? Dr. Renée. Hey, 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 hey.
You're not gonna be a better T-Pain. You can't play the game on me because I started the game. Jesus! Goddamn tap dancing Christ!
We'll see if we can get Dr. Renée a record deal. If not, we can put it on artificial intelligence, on AI. Have you heard about this? Have you guys heard about this?
What?
So ChatGPT is good not just to take USMLE tests and, recognizing patterns, but people have been using artificial intelligence. I don't know if they're using ChatGPT or if this is another platform, but people have been, for example, there's this hit record between Drake and The Weeknd that's not an actual record. It's the artificial intelligence did something, it put it together and it made like this, apparently made this song that's a slap.
AI
it's
is
really
a
good.
Producer now.
Yes, it is, which is
What?
actually kind of scary.
Yo,
That's
Dr.
really
Dre,
scary.
you better watch out, yo.
And then they have a whole bunch of different artificial intelligence things that are like creating videos. Like Casey Neistat just did a whole YouTube video with artificial intelligence, and I don't know if I haven't watched it, but apparently it's really, in terms of the video and like the way the facial recognition and creating another face in a video that looks like the person, it's
God.
really good.
That's it's gonna be a whole new world.
Terminator War of the Machines is coming.
Oh my gosh.
Well, anyway.
I legend.
Anyway, guys, we are excited to have you guys listen to the show. Listen, we
Or
also...
iRobot.
With who?
Was it iRobot or iLegend?
With who?
Will Smith.
It was iRobot, and then he did I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, guys, I'm messing up now. You got me all...
Now you're thinking about it, you're like, is it? Which one is it?
Anyway, listen, it's been over a week since we recorded, actually. So today's tax day. By the time you guys hear this, it'll be about a week and a half afterwards. But it's April 18th. I'm on edge. You just got back from locums. Why don't we kind of talk about that real quick? Because that kind of falls in line with what we do with our lifestyle, which is you work or I work, and then we kind of report everything on taxes and then go from there. So how was your weekend? You did a weekend of call?
Yeah, it was going good. So I get to work usually at 5 p.m. I'm at a new hospital, but I'm at work by 5 p.m. and I usually come home. 5 p.m. on Friday, and I usually come home I'm off anyway by 7:30 a.m. on Monday. So 5 p.m.
Not
Friday.
quite a 72-hour shift, but
Right, about 60 hours or so. 62 hours. So everything was going well. Friday was a little bit busy, but then it kind of died down overnight. Saturday was kind of smooth, actually. Nothing was really happening. And then I don't know what happened. Saturday night into Sunday just like blew up. People were calling. I got really strange calls this weekend. It was just really, really strange. But
you remember
anyway,
how many babies you delivered?
I only delivered. No, I delivered 2. 3? 3.
3 babies.
Yeah, 3. 2 on Friday and then 1 on Sunday.
So you are the person who gets all the phone calls from the nurses, phone calls from patients who are outside.
the ED consult.
From Friday night until basically Monday morning.
Yep.
You gave the pager away and you go from there.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm pretty much the front line, the last line for anything OBGYN related. So, yeah, it was going good. Usually Sunday nights are pretty quiet, right? I don't really get many calls or anything, but this particular Sunday, right, going into Monday, I got 2 calls and they were both like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oof, those are painful.
Yeah.
'Cause that's right when you're like, that's REM sleep for
Right.
me.
Exactly.
And your night is over, basically.
Yeah, the night is over.
Night is over.
Exactly. And it's one thing if the calls were calls that you just like, yeah, okay, this is not an emergency, you don't need to come in. But actually, they both did need to come in. And so one patient was one who actually her C-section was scheduled that morning and her water broke. So I had to go over and, go over to the hospital, take care of her. And then another patient called literally like maybe half an hour later and had to come in also. And she was in labor.
I'm just going to interject. I hate those type of shifts. I just like 12-hour shifts. Earlier in the career, like when I first started, I would do 24-hour shifts. And even those, I hated those.
Yeah.
The decisions that you're making at 8 in the morning are not the same decisions a lot of times that you're making at like 2 in the morning. Right. Because at that point, there's fatigue and so forth that's in play. And I just don't like it. So to do a Friday night and then you're getting called Friday night, you may have to operate Friday night, then you have to round Saturday morning, and then you may get called throughout the entire day of Saturday into Saturday night. Then the next morning you got to do it again. And then I just, to me, I hate that.
Yeah.
I like to know that there's a finish line that is going to be happening at the same day.
Yes, right. On the same day, right.
And when I'm done, I hand over the issues and then I decompress and go from there. Very rarely will you see me do a 24-hour shift. As a matter of fact, I haven't done it in like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. So the only time that I will do 24-hour shifts is if I don't have to be in-house. If I don't have to be in-house, then I don't have a problem doing a 24-hour shift because then I know I'm kind of hedging my bets, right? Like, will I or will I not get called in? If I'm doing a 24-hour shift or if the hospital requests a 24-hour shift where I have to be in-house, that's where I draw the line because I'm like, okay, well, if I'm doing a 24-hour shift, when I have to be in-house, for me, I feel like I'm going to get cabin fever. I have to leave. I have to be able to leave this hospital. I can't stay in the hospital 24 hours and not have the ability to leave. Now, does that mean that there might be days where I go into the hospital and because of what's going on in the hospital that I end up staying for 24 hours? Yes, right? But that's the bet, right? That's kind of the roll of the dice. Majority of the times, however, I'm not going to be staying in the hospital 24 hours and I'm going to be able to leave the hospital, go to, my Airbnb or my hotel, depending on where I'm staying. And then I can, decompress and at least get some rest. And I'm fine with that. Even if I have to go back in, I actually prefer to be called and to go back in because that, for me, it allows me that distance between me and the hospital.
Yeah, I don't like that. It's that anticipation of always having to go in and come back and then go in and come back to the point where, I'm probably going to make a decision where I'm just going to stay in-house and not go back home. And that's just going to piss me off.
Right.
Whereas if I'm in-house and that's it. I'm done. I see everything that I need to see. I take care of the people that I need to take care of. And then I hand off the pager. Don't call me for either 12 hours or however long it may be. And then I come back in. But 2 different philosophies. It doesn't work. But the most important thing is, where's my timesheet?
I'm going to get you your timesheet. I'll get you your timesheet.
Folks, what we talking about is...
our timesheet, really.
The way how it is we work as 1099. So we bill the hospital as our LLC. And then from there, the LLC pays Dr. Renee, pays Dr. Nee a salary. In order for us to bill the hospital, we have to submit a timesheet. And the timesheet lists how long Renee was in the hospital, when she got called back in, and, has the time and the hours in there. And then she signs it, and then she gives it to me. I fill out an invoice to the hospital, and in that invoice, there's a delineation of if she worked this many hours, that equates to this many dollars. And then there's also in that invoice a reimbursement for how many miles Renee drove from her house in New Jersey to this hospital in Pennsylvania. And then there's also a reimbursement for it when she gets an Airbnb, right? Or a hotel. And then we put a receipt in there too. So the invoice has the invoice, like the list of what they need to pay for, but there's some supporting documents, which are the timesheets, which I need from you. And then also the receipts from the Airbnb. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. And then they got 30 days to pay us back, or 30. I think we're net 30.
Yeah, I think we're 30.
I put it into QuickBooks, and QuickBooks sends out the invoice by email, And then within 30 days, sometimes a little bit longer, depending on what the hospital is, they either send us a payment by direct deposit or they mail us a paper check. I prefer direct deposit because it's just scary to get that large of a payment that's in the mail. But we have that sent, the payments that are by check, we have it sent to a P.O. box just in case the payments come and we're not there or anything like that.
Right.
We prefer it that way. You guys should take hints from there. I think that's the best way to do it, so that when you're gone and a check comes in the mail, it's not just sitting. You don't
in your mailbox where anybody can get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now with me, I'm on edge because, like I said earlier today,
Why are you on edge?
because it's April 18th and there's some issues with our taxes. We already filed an extension with our business taxes, and today's April 18th. I think we're going to end up probably doing an extension also, but we have a large estimated tax payment that we have to make, and I'm a little.
You don't like giving your money away.
It's not that. It's just that I'm a little. With our CPA, it's like there's like, so based off of. So this is all. Hey guys, this is all based off of 2022, right?
Right.
So we're finishing up 2022, and you're supposed to be making estimated tax payments if you're a business, right? Every quarter, right? So there's 4 quarters in a year, and you have up until April 15th to make that payment, or March 15th, depending on if it's a business. The problem is, I rather make it every quarter.
Okay.
As opposed to, okay, we didn't make the payments in the quarter and now you owe this really large lump sum and it's like 24, 48 hours before it's due.
Right.
I don't like that. Just have me mentally prepared to do it on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
So that it's not a large payment. And part of that is my fault, but the other part is that there's this tax planning that should have occurred, and I'm a little frustrated on that and peeved on that. So just so y'all know, things are not always 100% peachy keen on the Darko side too. We got issues also, but these are the conversations that you should be having with your CPA, which is, hey, what are my estimated tax payments? I should be making them, and you don't really want to. I prefer not to make them right before. So when we get off this call, or when we get off this this episode, I literally going to make like a $40,000 payment. Yeah. Painful.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. That's how it is. So
well, either way, it was going to be $40,000.
Right. And then we got some tax notices from 2021. So 2021 is officially done. There was some penalties that we got taken off the books. Our CPA wrote in and got those taken off the books. So thank you very much for that. That was your, y'all taking care of that. We appreciate that.
Yep.
And then the other thing that we're also taking care of, we increased our salaries this year. But
so let them know we have the ability to increase our salaries.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So
we decided to increase our salaries. So what our take-home pay is, what our company is going to pay us individually,
right?
As if we were working like
for any other company, right?
We increased our salaries. The only issue that we didn't do is we didn't increase our Roth solo 401k contributions. So we just want to make sure that we're always keeping up with making sure that we are maximizing what our 401k employee contributions are going to be. And then at the end of the year, just like any other company, our company makes a employer contribution, right? And that's how we are maximizing our pre-tax dollars. That's very, very, very important to us. So that's why we increased our salary, so that we can continue to keep up with inflation, and also at the same time make sure that we can contribute more into our 401ks. So
I was going to say really quickly is just so that, people who don't understand, I'm going to take one quick minute to explain what that means, right? Because not everybody's very familiar with, if you're an entrepreneur and you're working, for yourself, how can, what does that mean, salary, right? So just like any other company, you can set up your company so that you are an employee of that company, right? So yes, we get paid from the work that we do, but all of that money isn't ours, i.e. isn't our salary, right? So some of that money is going to be used, operationally, to pay taxes, to do all other kinds of things, plus pay employees' salary. We are the employees. So for example, you could have, let's say, Yourself LLC, right? Which is your business entity, but you are then going to pay yourself a salary. Yourself meaning you, at the actual person, right? So Yourself LLC pays yourself, the person, a salary. So that's kind of what we're talking about.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Dr. Renee, we appreciate that.
Yeah, it's the teacher in me.
So if you get basically if you get a stack for doing some work as a creator or as a doctor doing 1099, don't use that stack to pay yourself a salary. You're going to have to do some expenses from that, right? Like you have to pay cell phone bill. You may have to pay medical malpractice from that stack. You may have to pay healthcare insurance, whatever is left over from that, right? Then you're going to have to make a decision. What are you going to pay yourself as so that you can, live off of, right?
That whole stack is not your salary.
Exactly. That's the way I look at it.
Some of that stack is your salary.
Some of that stack is the money.
Some of it.
Some of that stack belongs to the IRS, and they want their money, right? And then whatever's left, you decide what you're going to do with it. Pay some expenses, put it in a 401k, put it in a SEP IRA, and then also at the same time, you may want to put yourself on salary. Yeah, you may want to do that. Some people don't. Right. Like initially we didn't do that. We just did it as a disbursement. We're getting too far in depth, but basically you don't necessarily have to do it, but there are tax reasons why you may want to do that.
One of these days, we should probably talk about like how to set up your LLC and pay yourself and all the other things that you have to do with the money that you get.
Yeah, so. and I think that concept really...
It escapes people. It really does.
It makes people want to put their head in the sand. And I just tell people that, like, listen, like if you want to transition from being employed and you want to just start working for yourself, that should be one of the last things that holds you back from doing it, right? Because there's so many people who have figured this out. They're making it work. There's software now. There's technology that makes it really easy. There's Gusto. There's QuickBooks. There's ADP.
And then there's professionals that help you.
There are professionals who do it. So, like, I would say if you're worried about, well, I'm scared to kind of just, do things on my own, and I'm scared to.
Oh, my health insurance is not going to be covered.
There's so many different solutions. Yeah. There's a ton of solutions out there right now that can help you manage this, and it doesn't have to be perfect, y'all. You can make some mistakes here and there, but ultimately, if your passion is to do something on your own, if you have a creative talent, if you want to YouTube blog, if you want to create something for people, coaching courses or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Or you want to do your clinical work.
Do it.
In a way that isn't employed by somebody else, then you can do it. Yeah, we should put together something.
Yeah. So although I'm on edge, like I said, I'm on edge like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Like this is not that big of a deal. This too shall pass, as we say when we do our colonoscopy.
Pay that money when we do our IRS come knocking.
This too shall pass. We will get by this and we will continue this. But if you were to ask me at this point in my life, do I want to go back to, would I trade all of this to go back to being employed? I'd have to say, for me, the big thing that would keep me from kicking and would make me kicking and screaming going back is the loss of autonomy. The ability to not really control my schedule. Yeah. If I want to take time off, having to ask people, just certain things that I just, at this point, I'm just not ready to go back.
Can I take vacation?
Yeah.
Can I get this day off?
Yeah. I just don't like that.
Can I take maternity leave?
And there's some other things, too, that occurred clinically wise also that I just wasn't down with, that I saw that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay 1099. Like I've seen some surgeons be forced to do certain surgeries. And I'm like, yeah, you can't do that. And I've seen some surgeons fold because of that. And I'm like, I'm going to stay as a 1099 for as long as I can. Yeah. So listen, we're going to get into another topic, which is the SNMA, the Student National Medical Association. But before we get into that, let's take a break. Hey, y'all, this is Dr. Nee with Docs Outside the Box. Check out our new video reality series. Coming to the Docs Outside the Box YouTube channel on April 24th, 2023. I was wondering when you're going to get back into being employed, or if you're going to get back...
No, I'm not going to go back to being employed.
Okay. So Dr. Renee is looking for a new place to practice OB.
Something definitely outside the box.
But am I really ready for this new change in our life?
Something we talked about a long time ago, but we never actually went back to.
Are you serious, Nick? Or do I need to tell her to pump the brakes? I'm not confront. She threw me off. She's using the locum story website and talking to recruiters. So how far is Dr. Renee going to take this?
I have 3 options that I'm looking at.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Doctors for hire.
If this doesn't work out, or if it becomes a disaster, then I'm going to feel pretty bad about it.
Coming to the Docs Outside the Box YouTube channel, April 24th, 2023. All right, we are back. Let's get into the Student National Medical Association, SNMA, the annual medical Annual Medical Educational Conference, AMEC. You just got back from that.
Yes. What, last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last week. Yes.
Didn't you feel like the old person at the club? Like the 55-year-old at the club?
No, but I'm sure them students
The
did.
55-year-old cougar at the club?
I'm sure them students felt like we were the old people in the club.
You felt like an old person at the club.
I didn't feel like I was an old person in a club.
How many of those parties did you go to?
This past weekend, or the weekend? I didn't go to any parties.
Trying to hide your ring. They know you. They know your last name is
I
hyphenated.
did not go to any parties. No.
Hello, student Dr. Michael.
Hello, Michael.
Oh yeah, you are just too
If you
old
guys
right
have
now.
ever seen Mike Epps,
A lot of older women are starting to approach me. Hello, Michael. My name is Mildred Michael.
hello, Michael. Anywho, no, I did not go to any parties. But yes, I went to the.
If you were at SNMA and you were there, text us at 833-230-2860. Let me know if Dr. Renee was at any of the parties.
Yeah, let me know. Let
She
him
lying.
know that I wasn't at any
She
of the
lying.
parties.
We don't know if she's telling the truth.
And let me know if I was acting up.
833
I'm always acting up.
2860. Let us know, guys.
Okay, very good, very good. So, which you got your little hall monitors now?
I do.
No, but it was, it was fun. It was a fun time. I went there.
What is SNMA?
So, Student National Medical Association is the oldest student organization that is dedicated to supporting underrepresented minorities in medicine. So it's made up of mostly medical students. I would say most of the students are Black medical students. And then there's a pre-med component as well called MAPS, which stands for the Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students. And so, you and I have been a part of the organization for a long time. I actually started with the organization, I want to say in 2000. 70 something, really neat. Really? Anywho, in 2000, and I've held local
Bill Clinton
chapter.
Bill Clinton was finishing up his second term. God damn, you old. Keep going. Oh, shit.
But that's around the time you were part of the organization too.
I was like a junior in high school.
Yeah, shut up, Nee. Shut up. Whatever. I'm not even talking to you anymore. I'm just going to talk to the audience. Anyway, so I've been a part of the organization, held local, chapter office. I've held national office as well. I've actually never held a regional office. You did, though. And yours was kind of regional and national since you were a regional director. But yeah, no, it was a great time. I went there in the capacity, two capacities, actually. One, as an emeritus. So I'm an emeritus, a chairperson of the board emeritus of the organization, which basically is one of the highest honors that you can be bestowed in the organization. But I also went there in the capacity of an exhibitor. And so I was part of the pre-med exhibition, for when they're meeting medical schools and things like that.
It's a big fair, basically. So
Yeah, it's a big,
all the medical schools, a large amount of
Exhibitor
medical
fair.
schools are there trying to get as many students to come to their school. So it's a great opportunity for people who
to
are
recruit.
There's also a huge residency fair also too. So
Yeah. So
you were there as an exhibitor with your app called Medic. I don't know why I said Map. Well, Medic. So you had to
Yes.
stand there. You were
Oh
trying
yeah,
to
we got
recruit
a new poster, y'all.
right there. Boom.
Yeah.
And you're also on the
Google Play Store now and waiting to get into the Apple Store now. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's a
Thank
big
you.
deal.
Thank you.
You're official.
I'm official. So so Medic is in the Google Play Store. And I'm just waiting. The Apple Store, you have like a whole bunch of hoops you have to jump through to get into. But we'll jump through those hoops and we'll get in there.
Okay. So the conference was in Hartford, Connecticut, where we got married.
Yes, we got married in Hartford. Yep.
The thing I wanted to get into is SNMA. This is a student-run organization, right? Student-run versus student government.
Oh, Lord, please don't. Let's not even get into that.
Let's get into that. What does that mean? Explain
Oh,
to people what that
gosh.
means.
So, okay. So for right now, SNMA is student run. And so there's been this, I guess, discussion as to whether or not student run versus student govern is the way to go. Well, what student run means is that the students do a majority of the work, right? And so you have medical students who are essentially doing lots of administrative things, lots of minuscule, I think anyway, tasks, things that, potentially could be outsourced, but they're actually doing it themselves. Whereas student governed is more like what you would expect, right, for an organization to be, right, where you have staff, and the organization does have staff, but that the staff is taking care of some of the tedious things that need to be done, some of the minuscule tasks that need to be done, and that the students are delegating, right? So in the student governed model, the students would actually come up with the ideas, be the creatives behind the ideas, and then the staff would essentially execute on majority of the things that need to be done in order to get things done.
Which is the preferred way, I think most people would say.
Well, so most organizations do run like that. I think where the SNMA is kind of unique is that there's a lot of turnover, and I think a lot of times students are so very used to doing things on like a local chapter level, like, if there's a bake sale, they're baking the cake. Right. You know what I mean?
And then they're also the treasurer, and they're also the secretary, and they're also the, the whatever, the political action, whatever it may be.
Exactly. So they're used to doing things like that. And so to come into a model where it's like, no, this is a national model. This is actually a business. This is not a local chapter doing a bake sale or, selling something, selling candy to fundraise. Like, that's not really
It was a multi-million-dollar organization.
Yes.
So
right.
you're in control of that,
yeah. And so, I think students don't really get that point. And sometimes it can be very overwhelming for students because they come in thinking that they can do all of these things, but not realizing that you're a medical student as well. And so you have a lot of other priorities that you need to think about. When you're thinking about these minuscule tasks, when you're thinking about like things on technology that need to be done and you don't know how to do it. And so now you have this huge steep learning curve, but you also have to study for anatomy, and you also have to be in surgery, and you also have to do all these things that medical students are required to do. That can be a dangerous place to be. So, we've had this discussion of student run versus student governed for many years. So it's just really interesting to see from year to year how each administration kind of runs. And I would have to say, having been part of the organization for 20 some odd years, that the administrations that have adhered more to the student governed frame of work have actually done much better than the years where they've done student run. Yeah.
So, I didn't go this year. I can't remember the last time I was there.
You went last year.
I was last year? Okay.
Yeah.
But I was with the kids, that's why.
So it wasn't, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But this year they had some things they had some, I forget what you call it. Is it sessions? They have sessions for medical students. One of them was called family planning, relationships, and residency. Mm-hmm, right. Mm-hmm. So obviously, thinking about maybe having children or having a serious relationship. Right. All these different things that I was avoiding when I was getting ready to do residency. And this is for people
So that's not a workshop you would have gone to.
Hell no, I wouldn't go to that one. Yo, please. One question I want to ask, because you always try to say that I was immature in immature in medical school and residency. Can you be immature in one aspect of your life and be very mature in other aspects of your life? Because that's what I think. I think you're wrong. Just because I knew I didn't want to have a relationship, that doesn't mean that I'm immature.
No, I didn't say you were immature because you didn't want to have a relationship. That's you walking in, you like, oh, where's the shit? Let me walk right into it. Okay, so.
So the other session.
You're not gonna cut me off.
Hey guys, the other session that they had
was. Don't do that now, Skip. Now, Skip. Don't do that now, Skip. You're not going to cut me off. I didn't say that you were immature because you didn't want to be in that kind of a relationship. There are other reasons where you were immature. You were immature in your communication of how you did not want to be in a relationship. That's how you were immature. And we're going to leave that right there.
So the other session they had was emergency medicine boot camp, presenting your best self on ERAS. Oh, sorry, emergency medicine boot camp. That was another session.
Mm-hmm.
Another one was presenting your best self on ERAS.
Mm-hmm.
There was another session on what happens if you don't match.
Yeah.
Right. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
So there's really a lot of important sessions
Yeah,
that happen on
absolutely.
there. My question to you is this, though. Listen, on social media, you can go on social media right now. You can go on my phone right now. You can go on Instagram. You can go on Twitter. You can go on whatever it may be, and you will find some type of medical.
You can go chat GPT.
Hey, right? You can go on there and you will find someone or something giving you advice on either how to match, how to family plan, how to study for emergency medicine, or all of these different things. My question is, with that being the new age of what's going on right now, is organizations having these annual conferences, specifically, let's talk about SNMA, is it still relevant to do these type of things?
So the answer is absolutely yes. It is absolutely important. There's no amount of technology.
But you're biased, though. You're like a chairperson emeritus.
No. I would say this of any organization, because there are other student organizations that do very similar conferences, although SNMA does it best. But yes, it is absolutely necessary. And the reason that it's necessary is that, there is benefit in community, right? There's benefit in community. So for example, I was watching something on social media. It was a quick TikTok or reel, and this woman was citing, I guess, an experience from back in the day. But anyway, she was citing the experience of a college professor who noticed that, I guess, his Asian students were doing really, really well in his class, but the Black students were not doing as well in the class. And so rather than to adhere, to the dictum of, they just don't, they're just not as prepared. They just can't hack it. They just whatever. He was like, no, I'm going to observe what is the difference between these two groups. And so he asked the students if he could observe them and, watch what they were doing. And they agreed. They said yes. So what he observed was that the Black students were actually doing more or putting more time to studying than the Asian students. The difference was that the Asian students were studying in community, whereas the Black students were studying alone. So what he did was, when he realized, okay, this is the difference, he then had the Black students, or had everybody pretty much study in community. And once he did that, then the scores went up.
Okay.
So there's a difference, there's a benefit in community that I think you can't get virtually, not, at least not as well virtually. Yes, you can simulate some of that virtually, but I think there's something about human energy that allows you to feel like, okay, I can do this. It allows you to get information, to have discussion in real time, to be able to find mentorship, to be able to find, peer-to-peer mentoring as well. So I think this is extremely important.
Yeah, and the way how I look at it is there's a need for colorectal surgeons to get together on an annual basis. They have their organizations. There's a need for thoracic surgeons. There's a need for women in medicine. There's a need for all of these different organizations, and it may not even be in medicine. It's just a need for people to get together and form a community and advocate for their best interests, and sometimes even advocate for something that's not in their best interest and so forth. But the most important thing is that, I think what these organizations teach you is that, being in a silo or being in separate silos is not advantageous.
Yes.
So, especially with the pandemic, I think that we've gotten so reliant on, virtually meeting with people and doing a whole bunch of different meetings virtually, you kind of lose that sense of connection with someone physically, like actually being in their presence.
Right.
And then obviously when you see like that entire video, what is it? There's a TikTok that's out there. I think Joe Bevel did it, where you see like all of these student doctors. I forget what that was at SNMA.
Oh yeah, they take a white coat picture.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
And they were all in a white coat, and you see this huge community of people.
Yeah.
And if let's say you're pre-med and you're just wanting to be a doctor, like that's very inspirational to see people who are going through that process together. Being there, there's a certain electricity, there's a certain level of camaraderie that you feel when you're there.
Right. And I think
you can't replicate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that whether it's SNMA or whatever student organization it is, like with and like I don't have to fly out if I'm watching someone on social media. I don't have to pay for an exhibitor fee, or excuse me, I don't have to pay for certain, I don't have to pay for a hotel. I don't have to pay for registration. I don't have to do all these different things. I can get this information from so set whoever guru it may be and stuff. So that's all I'm saying. It's just that I think that, these conferences just have to continue to evolve and have to continue to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Right. So that they are getting information that people want to come to, but also at the same time doing activities that want to make people want to fly out.
Right.
Drive out, get a hotel, get a registration. You know how some of these med schools be cheap. They don't want to pay for registration for, going to these
students,
for the students and so forth. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I definitely on that point where, you said like they take the white coat picture and they, there are all these people, people who look like you, people who, aspire to, be like you or have the same aspirations as you do. And that's really important. I know it was important to me when I was pre-med and I went to my first SMA conference. It was really something I was like, oh, okay, like, all right, I see you, and it makes you feel like you can do it. And while virtual is great, there is something about the in-person experience that is a true experience, right? It's an actual experience. You can talk about being there. You can talk about the sounds, the sights, all of the vibe, the feeling of being there, where I think virtual is great for kind of, how can I put it? Virtual is great for like long-term things, right? Like long-term catching up.
Yeah, it's right? to develop a relationship with someone,
to continue developing relationships. But there's something about being there in person that allows you an experience unlike a virtual experience.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So listen, that is it for the show, y'all. We appreciate y'all listening. But right before we leave, I just want to say one thing. So on social media, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about, and this is mainly from like financial, not like personal finance gurus, but from like, you can tell like big business, like there's this thing out there that's talking about there's a bubble with index funds.
Okay.
Right? Like there's like a quote unquote, like people who've invested all in index funds. There's this bubble coming. It's going to explode and there's going to be this massive fall in index funds and so forth.
Rutro-Rorge.
There's a great video by the people who I love, Our Rich Journey. They are a couple that retired several years ago. They both had federal jobs, and they retired and they are now in Portugal living that great life. There's a great video out there because I know it's been making its rounds through Reddit, making its rounds through other various social media realms where people are saying, well, maybe I should stop investing in index funds. And as you guys know, that's how me and Dr. Renee primarily invest.
Loving that VTI,
VTSAX, VFIAX, all of these different things with Vanguard. There's equivalents with Schwab. There are equivalents with Fidelity. We'll get into that in a different episode. But if you want to understand what people are talking about with the index fund bubble and just kind of debunking that, there's a great video that I'm going to put in the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, it's in the show description below, and it is excellent. And it should calm your fears if you're worried about, should I take money out and put it in crypto or, put it in gold or something like that. This is a great video, great explainer that tells what is going on. Other than that, that's it, guys. We appreciate y'all listening.
Yay.
We appreciate y'all watching on YouTube. And also remember, text us if you saw Dr. Renee in them SNMA streets at 833
In the SNMA club.
230-2860. Oh, before we go, real quick. We got a textafo from Kofi and Hadassah. They follow us on Instagram as well as they listen to the podcast. I think Hadassah is in medical school. We're trying to get into medical school.
Okay.
But it says texting to stand in solidarity with Dr. Nee.
Oh!
And then they have a fist, like.
What?
And they say, we have never seen the romper room. I think we're too young.
Oh, okay. That's acceptable because any other
Can I
time
finish
you
what they're
must
saying?
stand in
Can I-
solidarity with Dr. Renee.
Can I finish what I was
Because I was
saying?
about to.
Can I finish what we're saying?
I can't even tell you what I was about to do. I was going to break up this whole studio. I was going to burn this mother down.
But we were always looking for our names on those keychains that they
Then say Kofi.
have in the gift shops in places like theme parks. To this day, we have yet to see our names.
Come through,
Kofi,
Disney. Come through.
Kofi and Hadassah. Yo. I feel y'all. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you are listening to this and you don't know what I'm talking about, check out episode 353. Is it 353 we talk about that with Romper Room?
Yes.
Yeah, check out episode 353 where you talk about, where I
Is it
talk about.
353 or 352? One of them. Alfred, put the right one on YouTube.
Thank you. All right, y'all. We'll catch you guys on the next episode of Docs Outside the Box. Kofi and Hadassah, thank you for writing in.
Thank you.
And we'll see y'all later.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.